All right, let's go to this story here over on Jackson Jambalaya. I think this is all going to be very relevant based on the information I have here in the next few weeks. Maybe this week. Over at jacksonjambalaya.com. Councilman D.A shopped investors for downtown project. A Jackson City councilman said Hinds County District Attorney Jody Owens and several out-of-state investors met with him in February to discuss the Convention Center Hotel and related projects. Ward 1 Councilman Ashby Foote told Jackson Jambalaya this afternoon, this was back on Saturday, said this afternoon had scheduled, let me start over there. Ward 1 Councilman Ashby Foote told JJ this afternoon that a scheduler for the district attorney contacted him in mid-February to set up a meeting between Mr. Foote, Mr. Owens, and a group of out-of-town investors for February 29th at the Capitol Club. Mr. Foote agreed to the meeting. Mr. Owens, his staffer, and 4 investors met Foote from 11:30 to 1 at the scheduled time. Khakis, not suits, were the order of the day, as the investors wore business casual attire. The meeting opened with a discussion about reducing blighted properties in Jackson, a subject near and dear to the councilman's heart. After a few minutes, Mr. Owens and friends got down to the business of their business. Mr. Foote said it was odd the district attorney set up such a meeting, as his forte is law enforcement, not economic development. Their deal was they were interested in investing in Jackson. They mentioned retail stuff, also a convention hotel. We were right there where you could overlook it, said Mr. Foote. The group stood at the window looking down at the convention center as they discussed the convention center hotel. They used the vantage point to look at other empty properties in downtown Jackson. You can see all of the empty properties that surround the convention center hotel, continued the councilman. The purpose of the meeting, here's where we're getting down to brass tacks here. The purpose of the meeting was, quote, for them to find out how to get business done in Jackson. That's kind of what they wanted to know. How does Jackson work? How do we get things done here was the underlying theme of the discussion, said Mr. Foote. Quote, I wasn't suspicious at all, but what struck me was that they didn't have the real smooth presentation delivery that you would normally expect folks trying to make a big expensive investments to have. I have been in the investment business for 40 years, so I've seen presentations all across the country of companies that try to sell stuff. They've got it down to a science. I'm used to seeing people, if you're investing hundreds of millions of dollars or more, you've got a particular delivery. You're trying to engage people and get their feedback. It's how you do it if you are trying to make a presentation. They didn't strike me as seasoned presenters, said the Ward 1 councilman. They did not present any handouts nor business cards to Mr. Foote. Quote, we talked about how Jackson needs investments. You can look out the window and see the benefit from investors coming in and building a hotel or retail or any of those things we are interested in. The sense I got was Jody was going to line up meetings with the other council people, said Mr. Foote. He said that he did not know if such meetings occurred. Mr. Foote concluded, we're trying to find people that can make things happen in Jackson. We are investors. They mentioned the convention center hotel and retail, but we didn't really get much into the specifics. And then one of the things that was striking was as we got to the close of the meeting, Jody, and some of the members there were going to look specifically at the convention center and other things, but they didn't invite me. I was just struck. They seemed blasé about my interest. The West Point graduate said he had never heard from Mr. Owens nor the investors since the Capitol Club meeting. He said he runs into the DA socially, but they have not returned to the subject of the meeting. The meeting took place a few weeks after the city issued a new request for qualifications for the Convention Center Hotel on January 31st, 2024. The city has issued several RFPs over the years, but has been unable to attract more than a few casual nibbles at the Convention Center Hotel. Kingfish's notes here say, why is the DA getting involved in Jackson economic development? And, a simple little tax roll search, land roll, however you say that. If you look at all the land, if you really need to go for the visual here, go look at jacksonjambalaya.com, and they've got this RFP scribed out there, put it in, kind of showing, what the city was wanting out of this deal. I read about the first page of it. Diversity, diversity, diversity. Anyway, it shows the land that the convention center hotel would be on. It's directly across from the convention center. There's been a bunch of buildings over the years, all flattened out now. The only two buildings that are standing on this property are there on Lamar Street, which just so happen to house Jody Owens' cigar bar. And according to the land rolls, he does appear to own that building. I don't know if he owns the whole building that includes the nightclub that's in there, 4th Avenue, and maybe he rents that to them. I don't know. I didn't dig that far into it, or we didn't dig that far into it. And then the other building there would be the offices of Dennis Sweet, which I assume Mr. Sweet owns those offices. So they would clearly benefit greatly as property owners if the convention center, hotel, and parking garage got built right next to their buildings. One would almost have to assume they would need to buy those buildings and tear them down. Because why would you not want that frontage property on Lamar Street there? So that's just my personal opinion. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think we're going to see a big fire here very soon concerning all of this stuff. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day on the Clay Edwards Show.